The automotive world is currently talking about a very unusual situation involving well-known car brands like Bugatti and Ferrari, and an independent car builder named Mate Armstrong. Mate is not a big factory or a company. He is a private builder who works on rebuilding and modifying cars in his own garage. Recently, his work has caught a lot of attention online because of two very bold projects that created major discussion in the car community. The first major situation started when Mate worked on a Bugatti Chiron. This is one of the most advanced and expensive hypercars in the world. According to Bugatti CEO Mate Rimac, certain complex repairs or procedures on this car could only be done in very specialized facilities. The idea was that normal garages or independent builders would not be able to safely handle such work. However, Mate Armstrong decided to take on the challenge himself and showed the process on his channel. He managed to split the car and work on it using standard tools in a regular garage setup. This moment quickly became viral. Many viewers were impressed because it seemed to go against what Bugatti had claimed. People started saying that Mate had proved them wrong by showing that such work was possible outside of official facilities. The video gained millions of views, and the automotive community started discussing whether luxury car manufacturers exaggerate how impossible their repairs really are. At the same time, Bugatti did not respond publicly. There was no statement or explanation, just silence. This silence made people even more curious and led to more online debate. After this, another situation began involving Ferrari. Before the Bugatti controversy, Mate had already been working on a Ferrari 296 GTB. His goal was to convert it using official Ferrari Chiron parts. These are parts used to turn normal Ferrari cars into track-focused race versions. At first, everything seemed normal. Mate was able to order several important parts through Ferrari's system, such as a rear bumper, diffuser, and other components. They were delivered without any issues, which suggested that the process was working smoothly. However, things changed later when he tried to order the final set of parts. These included important front components like the front bumper, wider fenders, and other key racing modifications. At this stage, Ferrari suddenly blocked the order. No detailed explanation was given, only a refusal to complete the purchase. This confused many viewers because earlier parts had already been approved and shipped. If there was a restriction based on the car's identification number, VIN, people questioned why it was not flagged from the beginning. This situation created a lot of discussion online. Some people believe Ferrari simply followed internal rules and decided the car was not eligible for full challenge conversion. Others thought the timing looked suspicious, especially because it happened shortly after Mate's Bugatti video gained global attention. However, there is no confirmed evidence that Ferrari and Bugatti coordinated in any way. There are no leaked messages, documents, or proof linking the two companies. Everything remains speculation based on timing and observation. Despite this, many viewers started forming theories. Some believe that big car companies may try to protect their brand image and control how their cars are modified or shown in public. Mate's videos reach millions of people, so anything he builds can influence public opinion. If he completes a full Ferrari Chiron conversion using official parts in a home garage, it could show that independent builders can achieve what is usually seen as factory-only work. This could challenge how exclusive and controlled these brands appeared on the other hand. There is also a practical side to consider. Companies like Ferrari and Bugatti design extremely complex vehicles. They also have strict safety standards, legal rules, and performance requirements. It is possible that restrictions are not about control, but about ensuring proper use of parts and avoiding unsafe modifications. From this point of view, blocking certain orders could simply be a technical or legal decision rather than a reaction to online attention. The situation remains unclear, but what is certain is that Mate Armstrong has become a major figure in automotive content. His projects are not just car builds anymore. They have turned into public discussions about how much control manufacturers should have over their vehicles after sale. Whether or not there is any hidden connection between Bugatti and Ferrari, the debate itself has grown larger than the individual events that are in the end. This story is not only about one builder or two car companies. It is about how modern automotive culture is changing. With social media, independent creators now have the power to show the world things that were once hidden or controlled by manufacturers. And as long as these kind of projects continue, The discussion between freedom, safety, and brand control will likely continue as well. The reaction to Matt Armstrong's projects has continued to grow, especially across YouTube forums and social media platforms where car enthusiasts gather. Many viewers see his work as something new in the automotive world because it is not coming from a professional racing team or a factory-backed workshop. Instead, it is coming from a private garage with standard tools, documentation, and a strong online audience. This combination has changed how people view what is possible outside official manufacturer environments. The big part of the discussion focuses on trust. For many years, companies like Bugatti and Ferrari have built their reputation on precision engineering, safety, and exclusivity. They often explain that their cars are extremely complex and require special equipment and trained technicians to repair or modify. Because of this, most people assume that only official facilities can properly handle such vehicles. However, when Matt successfully completes or attempts complex work on these cars, it challenges that assumption and creates doubt in the minds of viewers. This is why the Bugatti situation became so important. Even though Bugatti did not respond publicly, the silence itself became part of the story. People started analyzing what silence means in such situations. Some believe it is a way to avoid giving attention to a viral video. Others think it is a way to protect a brand from being dragged into public debate. Either way, the lack of response allowed the discussion to grow even further online, instead of slowing it down. The Ferrari case added another layer to the conversation. Unlike the Bugatti situation, this one involved an active process where parts were being ordered and shipped. That made it feel more direct and personal. When the final component were blocked, it created confusion because earlier parts had already been approved. This raised questions about how Ferrari's ordering system works and whether restrictions are applied consistently or at different stages of the process at the same time. It is important to understand that high-performance car manufacturers operate under strict rules. These rules are not only internal but also related to safety laws, emission standards, and racing regulations. The Ferrari Challenge parts, for example, are designed for specific track-use vehicles, not road cars. So, there may be valid technical reasons why certain parts cannot be sold for a particular VIN or configuration. From this point of view, Ferrari's decision may simply reflect compliance with internal systems rather than external pressure or public attention. However, the timing of events still makes the situation interesting for many viewers. The fact that this happened shortly after the Bugatti video led people to connect the two events, even without evidence. In reality, large companies often make decisions independently based on their own risk assessments. It is possible that Ferrari's system flagged the order automatically after certain thresholds were reached, or that a manual review was triggered during the process. Without official confirmation, these remain open possibilities rather than conclusions. What makes this entire story powerful is not just the technical side, but the way it highlights the relationship between manufacturers and independent creators. In the past, information about hypercars and racing systems was mostly controlled by the companies themselves. Now, with creators like Matt documenting everything publicly, that control is weaker. Every build, repair, or modification becomes content that millions of people can analyze and discuss in real time. This shift has also changed audience expectations. Viewers now want transparency. If something is said to be impossible, they expect proof. If a part is restricted, they want to understand why. This pressure can be challenging for manufacturers because they must balance business protection, legal responsibility, and public reception all at the same time. Independent builders are not always operating in a fully regulated environment. They have more freedom, but also more risk. A modification that works in one case may not be safe in another. This is why manufacturers often argue that restrictions exist to protect both the car and the owner. The tension between freedom and safety is at the center of this entire discussion. In the end, the story of Bugatti, Ferrari, and Matt Armstrong is less about a conflict and more about a changing industry. The automotive world is moving into an era where information is open, creators are powerful, and traditional boundaries are being tested, whether manufacturers choose to engage or remain silent. The conversation is already happening publicly, and it is not slowing down anytime soon. As the situation continues to unfold, one of the biggest questions people are asking is what it means for the future of car ownership. In the past, Buying a high-performance car like a Ferrari or Bugatti meant entering a controlled system. The manufacturer not only built the car, but also controlled how it was repaired, serviced, and sometimes even modified. Owners were expected to follow strict rules and rely on official networks for almost everything. Now, that system is being challenged in real time. Independent builders like Mate Armstrong are showing that with enough skill, time, and documentation, many processes that were once considered factory-only can be done outside official environments. This does not mean manufacturers were lying, but it does raise questions about how much of that control is truly necessary and how much is based on protecting brand structure and business models. Another important factor in this story is the role of online audiences. In the past, a disagreement between a car builder and a manufacturer would stay private or be discussed in small automotive circles. Today, however, millions of viewers can watch the entire process unfold step by step. Every decision, delay, or restriction becomes part of a public narrative. This puts pressure on both sides because perception can be just as powerful as technical truth. For manufacturers, this creates a difficult balance. On one hand, they must protect their engineering standards, safety requirements, and intellectual property. On the other hand, they also have to manage public perception in a world where every action can be recorded, shared, and analyzed instantly. Even a routine administrative decision, like blocking a part order, can become a global discussion when placed in the context of a viral build. For creators like Matt, the situation is also complex. His content thrives on pushing boundaries and exploring what is possible. However, when working with high-end manufacturers, there are always limits, some technical, some legal, and some contractual. Navigating these limits while still creating engaging content is part of what makes his work interesting to audiences, but also risky in certain cases. The speculation around Bugatti and Ferrari highlights another modern reality. People often look for connections in timing even when none are confirmed. When two major events happen close together, audiences naturally try to link them. This is amplified by social media, where theories spread quickly and sometimes become accepted as truth even without evidence. In this case, there is no verified proof that the two companies coordinated their actions, but the discussion continues because the timeline feels connected to viewers to a deeper level. This situation reflects a shift in how power works in the automotive world. For decades, manufacturers held most of control over information. Now, independent creators hold cameras, editing tools, and global audiences. This changes the dynamic completely. A single video can challenge long-standing claims, question official statements, and influence how thousands or even millions of people view a brand. IT also raises an important question for the future. If independent builders continue to demonstrate that complex procedures are possible outside factory systems, will manufacturers adjust their approach, or will they tighten restrictions even further? There is no clear answer yet, but both paths come with consequences. If companies become more open, it could lead to more collaboration with independent builders and a more flexible aftermarket ecosystem. But if restrictions increase, it may lead to more attempts to bypass systems, more third-party solutions, and a growing divide between official and independent automotive culture. What is clear is that this is no longer just about one Bugatti repair or one Ferrari parts order. It has become a symbol of a larger change happening in the automotive world. The line between factory control and independent innovation is being tested, and the results are being watched by millions of people in real time. As long as creators continue to document these processes openly and audiences continue to engage with them, this conversation is unlikely to fade. Instead, it will likely expand into new projects, new brands, and new questions about who really has the final say in how these cars are built, repaired, and understood. As the discussion around Mate Armstrong's projects continues to grow, it is also starting to influence how people think about the value of exclusivity in the automotive world. For a long time, part of what made brands like Bugatti and Ferrari so desirable was not only their performance, but also the idea that they were controlled, limited, and carefully protected by the manufacturer. Owning one of these cars meant being part of a highly restricted system, where access to parts, service, and upgrades was tightly managed. However, when independent builders begin to show that some of these restricted processes can be carried out outside official environments, it changes how people view that exclusivity. It does not necessarily reduce the technical value of the cars, but it does raise questions about whether the limits placed on ownership are always based purely on engineering needs or also on business strategy. This is a sensitive topic for manufacturers because exclusivity is a major part of their brand identity at the same time. It is important to recognize that modern hypercars are extremely advanced machines. They are not simple vehicles, and even small modifications can affect safety, performance, and reliability in significant ways. Manufacturers argue that strict control over parts and repair procedures is necessary to ensure that the car performs exactly as intended. From their perspective, loosening these restrictions could introduce risks that are difficult to manage once the vehicle leaves a factory system. This is where the tension becomes clear. On one side, independent builders and enthusiasts want more freedom to experiment, repair, and modify. On the other side, manufacturers want to maintain control over how their engineering is used and represented. Both positions have valid points, but they do not always align, especially when content is shared publicly with millions of viewers. Another factor that makes this situation more complex is the role of reputation. When a creator like Mate Armstrong publishes a video showing a complex rebuild or modification, it does not stay within a small community. It spreads widely and becomes part of the global conversation about that brand. This means every outcome, whether successful or not, can influence how people perceive the manufacturer's claims about difficulty, exclusivity, or technical limitations. Because of this, even routine decisions like approving or blocking parts can be interpreted in different ways. A manufacturer may see it as standard procedure, while the audience may see it as a reaction to public attention or a move to protect brand image. Without official clarification, both interpretations continue to exist side by side, which keeps the discussion alive. There's also a growing awareness that the automotive world is changing faster than before. Social media, YouTube, and digital platforms have given independent creators tools that were not available in earlier generations. In the past, only manufacturers controlled the narrative around how their cars were built and repaired. Now, that narrative is shared, challenged, and sometimes rewritten by individuals working outside the system. This shift does not automatically mean manufacturers are losing control, but it does mean they are operating in a more transparent and